Hey there, my name is Mike Santee, and I am the founder and owner of Hit Club Baseball Training in Minneapolis, Minnesota, better known as the Twin Cities of Minnesota. And I've run the facility for 6 years, and I've run HitTrax Leagues for all of those 6 years. And so today I'm just giving a quick overview of what we do and how we've had success with leagues. And I don't have any affiliation with HitTrax. We own a couple machines and worked with them for 6 years. So it's really something I've become an expert in. So I just wanted to share some of that knowledge. If you want more information, if you want my personal help, I'm happy to work with you. I've got a couple options at the end of the video. Instead of looking at me for the whole video, I'm just going to kind of bring you over to here and excuse the rough video skills. It's just not something I do. I wanted to get this out quickly. So I'm just going to kind of talk you through a bunch of things here, and happy to do follow-up questions, or I'll do a follow-up video that's a little bit more professionally done. But like I said, I founded Hit Club Baseball Training. We launched in 2020. Prior to that, I ran a company called GearJunkie.com. We reviewed outdoor gear. And I sold the company in 2020, right when COVID hit, and I was looking for something to do. I was pretty bored and kind of cooped up at home with the kids. So I'm an adult baseball player. I've played for 17 years in adult baseball leagues. So never really had a good place to just go hit baseball. So just kind of bought a HitTrax and kind of found a spot and started there. And so probably different than you, HitTrax Leagues were kind of the core of the business. And so I built everything else around that. But if you already have an established business, this is just going to kind of walk you through what all you need and kind of how we run leagues at Hit Club. And hopefully it's some good information for you. And I'm just going to start walking through it here. So the facility is a smaller facility. We are about 3,800 square feet. We have 2 full-size tunnels, about 80 feet long, and 1 40-foot tunnel. So a smaller, just kind of training tunnel that we use for trainings. So our business is kind of made up of a few different things. We have, over 40 memberships at all times. So we have people that are members that can book their time. We are unstaffed, so we're not there. So members just go in, and people who rent the tunnel just go in and use the facility. So we do the memberships, tunnel rentals. We do a lot of facility rentals, birthday parties, teams rent the whole facility. It's good for about 15 kids, somewhere around there. So we can't do groups much larger than that. We offer group training during the winter, and we also have an individual trainer who works with kids individually. As I mentioned before, we have 2 HitTrax machines, and they're placed in both of our full-size tunnels. And the way that the league started up is when I launched a facility. Adult baseball is very big in the Twin Cities. We have probably 50 plus teams at minimum that play in different leagues around town. And like I had said, there just wasn't really a great place to go play baseball. And so we played in a HitTrax league somewhere else, and I figured out a way to kind of replicate that. So the first year, 2020, we had about 10 teams. This year, 2025, 26, we'll have over 30 teams participate. We do thousands of games annually. It's roughly $30,000 in annual league revenue with pretty minimal expenses. I'll walk through that in a little more detail. One of the nice things is we generally have a $60 hourly rental rate for 1 tunnel. And when I have the leagues in there, they're paying closer to $80 an hour when all is said and done. So it's higher than if all those hours were sold out at full price. So it's a good revenue stream for us. Mentioned before, adult baseball leagues are huge. And so we've had a lot of success catering to adults, but the HitTrax leagues are great for kids. So we just really don't have the time because we have so many adult baseball teams that play. So, but definitely can cater it towards kids or really any age. It works for all. The Outside of being really good for running leagues, HitTrax can also run tourneys. You can also do a one-day tourney, and there's a lot of other formats you can do with that, but I'm just going to really get into leagues. It's what we do most of. But I also want to note that we have probably 10 to 15 birthday parties a year, and the HitTrax gaming module is huge. We use it every single time. The kids love it. It really brings energy, and honestly, that's what they want to do the whole time. So that has been a big benefit to us to get birthday parties, and they're a lot of fun as well. One other thing to just kind of note is 3 or 4 times we've brought HitTrax on the road. And so I have a photo here. So Target Field is where the Minnesota Twins play, and we were hired to basically bring HitTrax on the road. So we brought it out, set it up in Target Field, and people were hitting balls into the net here at Target Field, which was pretty cool. So that is just kind of another little bonus. I'm not sure if anyone's ever done that, but we've had some success taking HitTrax, bringing it on the road. It's a lot of work to do it, but I'm just letting you know that that's something that you could consider as well. And my goal in this is, 1, to just kind of educate, and 2, I'm hoping that other facilities get on board and get leagues, because I know that we have some of the best teams in the country, and I'd love to be able to match up against other teams. So if you're able to get leagues going in your facility, I'd love to know. I'd keep kind of a running list, and it'd be really fun to have the champions of my league play champions of other leagues. You can do it virtually, and I think there'd be a ton of fun there. So that's another reason why I kind of wanted to put this together, is to hopefully get more leagues spread out throughout the country. So kind of in a nutshell, and this is just how we do it, but you may find there's other things you need at your facility, but in general, you need a HitTrax. And so I don't know if other systems could really do what a HitTrax does. We use a pitching machine. So I have ATEC 3X or 3.0, 2 ATEC pitching machines. And generally, you're going to want to be at least 40 feet back. You could probably go a little closer, but you probably want about 40 feet. And I'll mention kind of how we do it. I recommend flat seam baseballs. They have a lot less wear and tear going through the pitching machine. So I use leather baseballs. There's a couple different versions, but flat seam baseballs is what seemed to work best, and a lot less wear and tear. And then if you're going to run a league, you're probably going to need prizes for winners. That's going to be important to keep people's interest. So you could have some MVPs and different things like that. So it's kind of up to you how you want to do that. An optional thing you could do, you certainly don't need to, is you can stream the games live on Twitch, YouTube, or possibly even Game Changer. I'm going to just show quickly. So we used to, when we ran the leagues, we would run them through Twitch. I'm just going to do a real quick clip here to kind of show you what the gameplay looks at. So you'll see the team names up here. You got that bat, and then I built in a video feed so that people could watch this live. And believe it or not, we would get a lot of people to watch this live. The other teams like to watch it live, and people like to save their highlights, like you'll see here, probably my only home run. So that is kind of how you can use Twitch. That's just a clip from Twitch, but you can stream the games live. And then in addition, you can also, if you want, you can set up the game so that you can collect data for every player, and you can send that data out to the players or teams after the game. It requires a lot more work, and they can probably even do it themselves, but it is something that you can do if you want to. So specifically how the leagues work at Hit Club. I run 2 leagues. So one is running right now. It runs in November up and through the end of the year. And so we run a November-December league, which is about 8 total weeks. And then the big league is January through March. And I'll kind of talk through that more than anything. So the way that I set it up, and so this is more of a facility thing, but you can do it 2 ways. You can have teams in your league play head-to-head. So they show up, so maybe you have 8 teams, and you can just create a schedule. The teams, the 2 teams show up. Most teams are going to have between 3 and 8 players. You probably don't want to go any more or less. So that's probably 4 or 5 is probably the average that show up on any given week to play. We do double headers, so the guys are kind of making their way to the facility, make it worth their time to just play 2 games. And so you can either have them play head-to-head, where you just match up 2 teams, the winner wins and the loser loses, and you keep the standings. But the way we do it is actually much different. And so what we do is we actually have, on Sundays from 1 p.m. to 11 p.m., we have games running the entire day in both tunnels. And from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m., we have head-to-head matchups. So at 1 p.m., for example, 4 teams come in, and 2 of them will play each other. They play a doubleheader. When you're playing a head-to-head matchup, it takes about 40 minutes a game. And so I give them about an hour and a half to 2 hours to get their warm-ups in and 2 games in. But they play head-to-head, but they're actually not playing against each other. Each team is just simply playing their own game, but there's another team there. But it makes it a little bit more fun to have another team there. So the other option that I had to provide to kind of allow more teams to play is allowing teams to play a solo game. And so a solo game is where they come in and they literally pitch to themselves. They play the 2 double headers, and then we just take their runs scored during those games. And so that's why I said when the teams are playing head-to-head, they're not really competing against each other. They're just trying to score the most runs. So the league is structured where the more runs, the better. And so that's the only objective, is to score as many runs you can every single game. Like I said, Sunday from 1 p.m. to 11 p.m., the facilities got leagues going the whole day. So I blocked the whole facility out. We have the training tunnel where guys can warm up, but they kind of know the drill. They come in, they get warmed up, they get their games going. So we play games in high school mode. And if you have never played HitTrax high school mode, it's tough. It's very tough. The third baseman and shortstop are all-stars. So it is really tough and a challenge, even for a pretty good hitter, to get a lot of hits and score a lot of runs. So like I said, teams have between 3 and 8 players. We let them choose any MLB stadium they want. And here's really the 2 kind of ways that you can run the actual games. So easy mode is called entertainment mode. So you have a mode called entertainment mode, which is very simple. You can literally put a team name in, put the roster in whatever order you want, hit play, and it'll pull the game up and you can get going right there. So that's super easy. I'd recommend that. You probably don't need anything more than that. It's going to track all the scores and everything. However, if you're in a more serious league, or guys are a little bit more, want their stats and things like that, you can actually go into the gaming module and set up rosters, and then each roster can be entered into a game. And so then it tracks all those players with their HitTrax profiles. So when they go in to look at their HitTrax profile, it'll show their game results. So won't go too deep into that. That requires a lot more. It's just more high touch. There's a lot of work getting teams set up every week. There's a lot of, it's not as easy as entertainment mode. So you certainly can just use entertainment mode, and you can just use that at a birthday party too. You can just quickly set up a game, and it works pretty much the same as the more official gaming profile. We do pitch distance from about 55 feet. So we kind of just took, your standard pitching mound, and kind of where a pitcher might release the ball is around 55 feet. So we set it up there. Pitch speed over the plate is generally 50 to 70 miles per hour. These are all adults that are playing, so they're used to those speeds. So some teams like the lower end, some teams want it to be 70 miles per hour, so they can choose whatever speed they want. We've found that just because it's a higher incoming speed doesn't mean the exit velocities are always going to be higher. So we let teams choose what they want to do there. They come in, they play a doubleheader every weekend. The January through March league has 9, each team plays 9 regular season weeks, which actually is 2 games. So they play 18 regular season games. At the end of the 18 games, the end of the 9 weeks, we simply tally up all the runs, and it goes in order. So the top 8 teams play in one bracket, the next 8 play in a bracket, and the final 8 teams play in like our single A bracket. So bracket them up so they're playing teams that are kind of similar to them, and then we just do a bracket style playoffs. So the first week of playoffs, usually I have at least 24 teams. So the first week there's 24 teams, second week there's 12, and then the third week there's 6 teams, which is the championship game for each tier. So that's how we've set it up, and it seems to work pretty well. If you have 8 teams or less, you don't have to worry about a lot of this. But once you get into more than 8 teams, you got to kind of think about how to best run the playoffs. So that's how we do it. Every team pays a team fee. So it's $850 per team for this upcoming season. Generally, we get paid through Venmo. It seems to be the easiest way to do it. There's not a lot of software that does this. I know some of them can handle some of these things, but they're also not as easy as just having a person pay through Venmo. And then, like I said, tier the playoffs and base everything on runs scored. When you get to the playoffs, it's actual head-to-head matchup. So the first top seed plays the 8th seed, and they actually play real games, and the winner moves on. So we're not going by, I mean, it goes by runs scored, but it's actual, they play a 3-game series, and whoever wins 2 games first moves on to the next round. So kind of what you would need to do to get a HitTrax League up and running. So really the biggest part of it is promoting the league and getting registrations, getting the teams in. So if you have an email list, if you run ads, if you have different ways to communicate, you just need to get the word out there to get people interested. And I can kind of help you out with different copy and different things that you can use. But that's kind of the number one thing. You got to get teams in. And then really, once you have teams in, you got to block off your facility so that no one else is going to be there during the games. Create a schedule if you're going to do head-to-head, or otherwise you just give teams a time slot and they come in every single week at the same time, which seems to work pretty well. You will have to manually update standings and go in and do that on your own. And then you'll organize the playoffs, prizes, things like that. Those are obviously optional. Sometimes, like my November-December league has no playoffs. It's just 8 weeks and it's over. So there's really no prizes or anything like that. And then you may or may not have to have staff, or you might already have staff there, but you got to, factor that in. Are you going to need staff there for the games? At my facility, we are unstaffed. And so all these teams have played for years and kind of understand it. And the first week, I'll walk them each through exactly how to set the game up and how to do everything they need to do. And then they're just on their own after that. Some just basic kind of challenges you're going to run into with the HitTrax League is the pitching machine accuracy. So if it's not throwing strikes, people get pretty frustrated. The ATEX were great. So I run them from 1 p.m. till midnight, a lot of Sundays. 2 machines running all day. They never stop all day. They throw thousands of pitches, and I rarely have problems, but sometimes they get a little off, and so it just kind of makes it unfair for a team if it's off. So that comes up, or maybe a machine breaks down. You kind of need to have a backup, or else your day is kind of ruined. One thing you'll note when you use the entertainment mode or any gaming is that HitTrax will not recognize a foul tip. So if someone has 2 strikes and foul tips one, you have to manually go in and hit back. So that's one thing you kind of always have to have someone manning the HitTrax to take care of that, because it comes up a lot. People, if you're not playing head-to-head, if teams are playing solo, people can get accused of cheating, and it would be pretty easy to cheat if you're there alone at the facility. So that's one thing to think about. And just in general, it's, there's a lot to it to get it up and running. So there's just a lot to get the first league started. And once you do the first one, they each become easier after that. The other thing is there really isn't a whole lot of resources for indoor baseball leagues. So all of the softwares and things out there there's just not a lot out there. You kind of have to manually track things, and I'll show you quickly my spreadsheet of kind of how I do it, but it's pretty manual. Someone's got to build these things out and create the schedules. Couple, really nice things about HitTrax as a whole and the leagues really is annual revenue. So every year I can count on, $30,000 in revenue coming in through the leagues. I've got a waiting list of teams to join. So if teams drop out, I can replace them pretty easily. And then on a given Sunday, I probably have 130 plus guys in the facility. So they're buying batting gloves and beverages and other things. So, you have a lot of people there. Their teams then come in and rent. So it builds this really nice base of customers. And then really it's fun. Like the guys come in, and I've played in the league forever. It's a lot of fun. It gets you out of the house and gets you something to do. People are willing to pay a premium to have this set up for them. So I liken it to a Topgolf for baseball. So I've had tons of people in my facility that have never played baseball. They have no interest, but they come in and they play the gaming mode and they have a lot of fun. So really easy to set it up. And so really what I recommend is spend time using the entertainment game or the gaming module and really get to know it and use it. And the more you use it, the easier it is to explain to other people and to get different things set up. So as far as where to go from here, if you want to do a league, I recommend you've already watched this video and then you just do it yourself. Just get the thing going. I mean, the worst case scenario is you refund a team or something, but just get the thing started, get some teams going, and you can grow it slowly from there. If you want more personal help, I've done this. I have a lot of experience. I have two kind of ways to work with me. One is I would just set aside 2 hours to consult with your facility specifically. It would cost you $250, and then you do it yourself after that. I will provide kind of everything I know, understand what you're trying to do, and really help you get it set up to have the most success. The other option is if you want to be a little less hands-on, you can partner with me on your league, and I'll work with you. It's going to be somewhere between 15 to 20% of your first year league registrations. So if you somehow can put together a $10,000 league, I'm going to get a percentage of that, but I'm going to literally help you through every step of the way. And all of these things can be done remote. Just a couple last things here. HitTrax official YouTube page. I'll show you that. The Hit Club YouTube, which you can check out, the Hit Club Twitch, which I'll provide links to that. And then if you need to get a hold of me, the best way is just Mike at hitclubtwincities.com. You can check out our website at hitclubtwincities.com. And then I will just show you, this is our website. If you, as I mentioned before, HitTrax has some great resources on their official HitTrax page. This one is actually walking you through the gaming module. So I recommend you do that if you've never done that. And then, like I said, we have a Hit Club YouTube channel where this video will be. We have a Twitch channel. And that's about it. So hope you got something out of this. Feel free to reach out if you want to work with me or if you have further questions, and I'll try to provide some additional information about bringing HitTrax on the road and some other different things that we do at our facility. So, if anything, just shoot me an email. I'll put you on an email list if you're interested in hearing more about leagues, or if this takes off, I'll certainly connect you with all the other facilities that are going to be running leagues. So appreciate your time and good luck.